All right, welcome to today's episode on integrating the in-app messaging feature for Conviso into your mobile SDKs. In case this is your first time seeing any of your Conviso video and you're wondering what Conviso is, please find our official website conviso.ai where you can skim and read through all our services and what we render, and also head over to the documentation section and clicking on resources documentation to read more how to make use of Conviso. You can also find all our SDKs available. As of today that I'm recording this video, we have Android, Flutter, Go, iOS, Node.js, Python, and React Native. So picking up the in-app messaging feature on Conviso. So the first thing you need to take note is the initialization function of Conviso. Also, please note that I said this in my previous video that if you are wondering why is it called OpenCDP, just know that Conviso was formerly known as OpenCDP. So paying attention to this particular function, the first thing you need to enable is enable in-app messaging. Make it true. This allows your Conviso to listen to the in-app messages you're sending and then ensure that it shows it to you, not exactly in real time, but shows it to you. And also, why I said it's not exactly in real time is we also have a function where you have the in-app sync limit. What this does is it gives you the amount of minutes you want the in-app to sync into your app. So for instance, if you send your in-app messages around 10:50, if you set this to 10, it means it's going to show up 11 o'clock, right? Takes around 10 minutes, right? So I will make it flexible for you to ensure that you can sync it at any point in time, or flexible for you to set the time for you to sync it. However, there's also another feature that allows you to show your in-app message in real time. And I'm going to show you at the course of demoing the whole process, right? Also to point out, the same function is enabled for React Native, Flutter. Like I said, all are similar to the integration. Now, another aspect I want you to pay attention to properly is this particular function, the opencdp.instance.inapp.messagestring.listen. Now, what this does is it listens to the in-app messages that is being fired from the dashboard and then renders it to you. However, if you pay attention closely, you see that we have four types of in-app messaging render type. We have the modal, we have the banner, we have the inline, and we have the inbox. Now, what this does is when you send an in-app message and the render type is modal, you're meant to display modal to the user. If you send the one for banner, you're meant to display banner to user as well as inline and then inbox. And so we made it so flexible that you could control the kind of widgets, customize the widget you want to show to the user. Very, very flexible, very, very customizable. Also to note, the same function applies to React Native, same process, same render type, same for Kotlin, and then same for Swift. All right, welcome to the Conviso dashboard. I'm sure you should be familiar with this particular interface, but if you are not, definitely means one thing: you've missed other videos. And just to run through it, we have a video that explains this Conviso dashboard that talks about navigating the Conviso dashboard, how you could get your API key. And also there's a second video that talks about integrating Flutter SDK for the very, very first time. In that video, you get to be familiar with this particular interface. But however, this is a run through. So if you want to send a broadcast, and I'm saying this thing because I'm going to make reference to this part along the course of the video. So if you found in this place, this is the broadcast section where you can select where you can send broadcasts to your subscribers. And most importantly, you come to this channel part where you select the kind of broadcast you want to send. We have the email, the push notification, which I've made explained detailedly in my previous video, SMS, and then in-app message. And for this course, we'll be taking in-app message. So you select your in-app message, and of course, you can select everyone in your workspace, can select matching attribute and conditions and segments. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to send it to one particular user, which is me, my particular device. All right. Now, this is the interface for sending an in-app message. Please, first thing first, pay attention to this section called expiring after. So this particular never expires is ticked by default. Sometime in the future it might be unticked by default, but currently it's actually ticked by default. However, this implies that when you send an in-app message, it never goes, it never expires, it stays there forever. And some users don't like this. Some clients don't like this. Some companies don't like this. So ensure you head over to this place and tick it off and then manually set your duration. You can set for minutes, you can say 20 minutes, you can set for hours and say 14 hours, or you can set for days and say 10 days. This means once your in-app messages shows to your users for 10 days, it disappears and they no longer see it. So it's a campaign. All right. That being said, and you can also set your priority to normal, critical, or high, depending on how critical the message is to you and then to your user. And then, like I said earlier, the render type. This is the section where you get to select the render type for the kind of in-app message you want to send. And also pay attention to this little display over here, where you can see how it's going to look like in preview. So this is a modal. This is a banner, an inline box, an inline, then inbox card. All right. So let's take a modal and do, let's say, testing modal in-app. Let me say this is a successful integration. All right, you can decide to okay, I'm going to explain this particular section in a bit. But what this particular section does is, if by for any reason you have enabled screen auto tracking when initializing your Conviso SDK, it means that this particular section is useful to you. And what this does is it enables you to tell the system which particular screen you want the in-app messages to show in. For instance, you could have login and then sign up, then home screen, and then your dashboard, and then your profile, and then let's say edit profile. So what this does is you can set your in-app message to only show in the profile aspect of your screen. And this is important because taking a look at we are considering different clients, and let's say you have, or let's say you are a fintech client and you want to send an in-app message and you don't want your in-app to disrupt users when they are trying to make a transfer in the transaction screen, or when you're trying to take a loan in your app, boom, it's just an in-app message. That's very, very distracting. So what we've done here is to enable you to dedicate the screen you want to show the in-app message, or probably you have a new feature in your app and you just want to point them to the direction of that new feature just in your home screen. You can ensure that this in-app only shows in your home screen. So you include your screen tracking here and add the screen you don't want it to show at all. And this is only, you can only make use of this feature if you've enabled auto screen tracking in your SDK. I'm going to show you that part in a bit. Right, like I explained earlier, I said I'm going to show you what auto tracking is and other most important things you need to enable for you to enjoy your in-app message. So the first thing is auto track strength. Like I explained earlier, if you turn this on and you have your routing done properly, what the SDK does, it listens to your tracking, your screens, how you routed it, and then stores it for you, and then you can find it in your attributes to use it in this case where you can say my in-app should not show in one screen but should show in another screen. All right, the second thing is to enable your in-app messages, which I explained earlier, turn it to true. And then most important thing is to enable in-app in real time. Right, this is useful if you want your in-app messages to show in real time, or you can use the in-app limits, the in-app sync limits, which I explained earlier, to detect the time you want it to show. If you don't want it to show in real time, right, you can do your limit. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using my in-app in real time. Then also pay attention that of this function. Like I explained earlier, this particular function is very, very important for you to be able to render your different types of in-app messages, be it your modal, be it your banner, be it your inbox, and then be it your inline. And then don't forget to have this particular function at the end of your listener. This is very, very key, and this enables you to track the amount of deliverables the in-app has done. So if I send in-app to 1,000 users, I want to know that 1,000 users received my in-app messages. I want to know that, oh, out of the 1,000 in-app I sent, 700 saw it, 800 saw it, 150 did not receive it. This particular function is what give you that metrics. So please ensure that you add this function. Very, very key. Next thing is to, so I've done some of the design so that this video is going to be short, so we don't code um while discussing. So I've designed a little widget for the model. Then for the banner, I also so I didn't design a banner for this course. You can just easily design a banner. Same thing can work as the model. But for the inline, I want you to pay attention. For the inline, we have a function called app messaging inline, in-app message, right? This allows you to, you can initialize this part however you want to do it. But for the sake of this video, I'm just doing a very, very rough code so that you could just see it work. And then based on engineering expertise, you can initialize this the way you want it. However, we have a function called the in-app message for inline, and then we also have an array of in-app messages for inbox. I'm going to explain this in a bit, or you're going to understand clearly when we start using them. But these two things are key for you to be able to show your inline messaging and then your inbox messaging. So for the inline, when you receive an inline, first thing you do is to just convert that to show the inline. It means as the messages is coming, you convert it to that message and then show it. But for the inbox, what you just have to do is to insert the particular message inside the array, and it is very, very flexible. You can say this message should come at the last or at the first. For the sake of this video, I'm doing it for, I'm putting it at the first index, 0. And then a little bit of design for the inbox. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this code base available at the end of this course, so you could run through it and then find it very, very easy for you to integrate. Then I have obviously the simple calculator app. I have the simple code base for you to take a look at things and integrate. So, all right, quite a lot of talks. Let's get back into testing this thing. All right, so at this point, we are going to be testing the in-app messages for 2 or 3 render types and then see that it shows in real time inside our app. However, when you about to test the in-app message, please note that this is for testing case, and if you're a developer like me and you are trying to also test if your data messaging integration works fine before shipping it to production. Please know that, like the previous video, this part is not your device ID. This part requires your person ID. Also, the system automatically picks everybody's person ID once you are sending a broadcast. But for the sake of testing individually, I just want to test as a developer. You can find your person ID when you go to your people, and when you get to the interface, you can search by your name or by your email, and then you can hover to where, this is my own cheat code anyway. You can over to your URL and then find your person ID here, usually the last segment of the URL, and then hover back and then insert it and then send. Um, there's a tool that has been sent successfully. Let's wait for it to show. Boom, and here we go. Don't forget that I said this thing expires in 7 days. So if you pay close attention to expires at, it's going to expire in 7 days. And this is what I meant by having your expiration dates. The SDK fetches the list of or an array of all your in-app messages, and every time you kind of reload your app, it shows up. So if you have um an in-app message that doesn't expire at all, it means at every point in time your in-app message shows up to this user unending. So pay attention to that particular aspect when you are sending your broadcast. All right, so this is our simple model. Like I said earlier, that it is very, very customizable. If you're a developer, you understand what I'm saying. So I can make this thing red I don't like red. Let's use red. I make this red and then renew my and reload my app, and then we are going to find. I'm definitely going to find a red um antenna. Yeah. We are going to be testing one more, which is the okay. I said I didn't add a widget for banner. Let's test the inline box. Sorry, the inline. Put your person ID and send, and let's watch. Oh, queued and send successfully. So let's wait for it to sync. Let's reload a bit and see. All right, so we have two in-app messages in our queue already. It means one is for the modal, which you just saw, and the second one is the inline, which I just seen here. This is the inline, or I can make it app modal inline for you to be sure that that is what we are talking about. And you can find this code here where I made reference to the inline aspect of things. You have the inline title, the inline body if it exists, and then inline images if it exists too as well. Then the last aspect to this thing is the last render type, which is the inbox card. Now for the inbox card, I need to explain it. It comes in an array, in a list. So it means that wherever you are showcasing this inline box, you have to cater for the inline widget as an array or as a list. So let's try it out. I'm going to send one. For the sake of this thing, let me reduce this to let's say 10 minutes. So it disappears real quick. We do this and then send, let's say, this is in app in box card, and I send. So I'm going to refresh this for um, just to have it show. Ta-da. So we have one, which is the modal. We have the second one, which is the inline, and then we have the third one, which is the inbox. This is the inbox aspect of things. So let me send one more so you see what I meant by it comes in an array. You can, yeah. So you can see that we have two inline blocks. All right. This is going to be the end of the video for in-app messaging. However, I'm going to attach the link to this particular code base to the end of this video so you can find the code base and test. Also, please note that you can, yes, I didn't mention this. Please note that you can also have different CTAs for your in-app messaging. You can have a custom button, and let's say the name is Go Home. Most of the time, this works for modal, but you can also customize this for other render type. But most of the time, it works for modal. And you can also have a dismiss button and say close, and what it's going to do is to dismiss the model. And you can have deep linking too as well if you have deep linking configured in your code base. You can also make use of this particular aspect that says show once and then mark as seen, or you can say show until they dismiss, right? You can also add the maximum amount of time you want it to be shown to a particular person, the wait minutes, and then in minutes or in hours or in days. Like I've explained earlier, the in-app messaging is very customizable. That it is designed to meet every edge case requirement that there can be for every client. So thank you for watching this video. I'm definitely sure I'm going to see you on the next one.